where the blade was truth, where kingdoms burned, and memory walks in armor still. This is iron and ash. The wall before the shield is raised, before the oath is broken, before the spear is cast, something stands. Not a man, not a weapon, not a sound. A wall. The line between in and out, between us and them, between hold and fall. The wall is not the battlefield. It is what makes one. The first walls weren't built for style. They were desperation set in stone. Mud brick, piled rock, timber spiked and sharpened, barricades to keep death just out of reach. Early walls were thick with sand and straw, mortared with ash, bound by will. Some were no more than mounds of packed dirt, others woven from reeds planted deep in mud. Bamboo palisades in jungle warfare, clay rings in desert encampments. They weren't meant to last. They were meant to delay. But some walls did last. From Jericho to Troy, from Hadrian's edge to the Great Wall's spine, the wall was not merely structure. It was statement. This far and no farther. The Great Wall of China was not one wall but many, stitched across dynasties, centuries, and catastrophes. Each stone laid as a warning. Not to stop invasion, but to slow it. To break momentum, to show the empire could draw lines in mountains, to write fear in mortar, to extend rule across topography. But walls do not rise on their own. They are labors of muscle and mandate. The first wall builders were not architects. They were survivors, gathered from village or captured from war. Slaves, peasants, convicts, conscripts, hands that bled so rulers could sleep. The Great Wall claimed the lives of thousands, dead buried beneath the very stones they hauled. The pyramid walls were the tombs of kings, but also the legacy of workers whose names never made it inside. As time advanced, wall building became craft. Stonecutters formed guilds. Masonry rose from labor into lore. To master the wall was to know the weight of the world. The masons who shaped Europe's cathedrals, and later its fortresses, left behind not just stone, but secrecy, symbols etched in corner joints, rituals passed from hand to hand. A wall could be defense, or monument, or both. To build a wall is to declare that something matters, that something inside is worth the cost, that something beyond must be kept at bay. The wall is the architecture of fear, and the fortress of memory, a story told in stone. Every siege begins with two truths. There is a wall, and someone wants to breach it. It's not always clear who's right, only who endures. Siege is not fast. It is hunger as tactic. It is waiting as war. The wall doesn't strike. It outlasts. It watches. It absorbs. It challenges time. It makes every second a weapon. Shield walls too, flesh turned to fortress. Men linked by will, bodies as stone. If one breaks, all break. To hold the line is more than survival. It is faith turned physical. It is legacy and posture. You don't hold the wall because you must. You hold it because you believe it can't fall. To stand is to speak without breath. The wall is not just resistance. It is identity. The map begins with it. The kingdom is drawn around it. Names live and die at its gates. Customs form in its shadow. Economies bend to its curves. Berlin, the Pale, the Ghetto, the Green Zone, the Maginot Line. Every age draws new walls. Every wall redraws what we call peace. Some are made of steel, some of silence. The Berlin Wall split a city not by distance, but by doctrine. Concrete and rebar became ideology. East and west with watchtowers between. The Cold War didn't need a front line, it had a wall. A line drawn through families. A history split mid-sentence. Some walls protect, some imprison, some divide. Most do all three. There are walls with gates. There are walls that never open. Some ask questions. Others assume the answer. There are walls so old we forget who built them, and walls so new we haven't yet understood what they mean. There are digital walls we can't see, and cultural ones we pretend don't exist. To scale one is to rewrite the story. To destroy one is to erase the memory. To defend one is to preserve the version of truth you were born into. To ignore one is to risk walking into the wrong century. And yet every wall has two sides. What keeps you safe keeps someone else out. What you call defense, someone else calls exclusion. What you built to preserve your home, they see as a fortress of forgetting. Modern times didn't forget the wall. They digitized it. The firewall protects not people, but data. It keeps networks clean. It holds line against viruses, spyware, breach. It filters ideas. It shields knowledge. It censors. It secures. It obeys. The principle never changed. Build the barrier, filter what enters, screen the threat. And perhaps, don't let the wrong thing in or the right thing out. Even political slogans evoke the ancient urge. Build the wall. In 2016, it wasn't stone, it was promise. It wasn't border, it was fear. Every repetition was a brick. Every cheer a mortar line. Walls don't need mortar. They need meaning, and echo, and repetition, and consensus. The wall waits now too, not just in maps, but in minds, invisible until needed. Present the moment pressure arrives, a line drawn in impulse, or habit, or old programming. Still standing, still dividing, still watching, still deciding who belongs where, just beneath the ash.